All right, you guys, I'm gonna speed run this recap. I took one trade today. Just speed run it. So, looking at the weekly charts, a bunch of expansion candles. We get the previous week C2 candle. Look on ES, it's a bullish candle. Over here, it's bearish. So, I just think if we can get at least a new phase of price after such a large series of expansions, finally we create a weekly swing point. And when I look inside of this weekly reversal candle, it has that V-shaped signature. Over here, we have that CSD. So thinking that we could maybe run to that weekly fair value gap today. All the profile does not really support it, right? This profile kind of opens low first, and it actually opens low and then creates SMT here, right? That SMT, I wouldn't deem to be so relevant necessarily, because here's like the overall range, high, range, low type of thing. You create an internal manipulation or cracking correlation, and it kind of makes a deep run through this low, which then creates failure swings off the lows here. So I'm not so sure if I trust this technically weekly SMT fill here right now. I wouldn't trust it, honestly, until proven otherwise. So I was not trusting that. I was more so viewing the move higher. So we got a reaction off that SMT. I'm viewing this move higher as like a retracement more so, if anything. Right, so this asset moves into EQ. This asset moves higher as well, but it does not take out this 1400 high. If you go to 1400 high over here, it's right here. So you have a cracking correlation there. Although it's not my favorite way to use SMTs, I usually like both assets to have the same relevant high or low, but I'm viewing this as a strength switch mainly. When we get that decoupling, this is a good example because we just went over decoupling yesterday in my stream. As you can see, this asset was previously stronger because it had this SMT here. Or previously stronger. Then at 9:30, that's when the decoupling happens, typically, is then coming back into this low, right? So it's actually expanding towards the drawn liquidity to break SMT, while YM is expanding higher. So I'm viewing this as a fake move, right? Creating the SMT essentially, right, with that high. And I'm viewing this as the real move, right? Trading towards the drawn liquidity. So that's how I'm deciphering which asset is the leading asset, essentially, okay? Because the weekly, whatnot, right? The weekly reversal candle, and yeah, these failure swings off of the lows. So that's what I'm mainly viewing this. Yeah, like I said, though, the profile is not great, though. It opens low first. I do like these failure swings, though. Like, the failure swings are pretty nice down here. Like, look at all these failure swings, though. I was not opposed to it. We did end up getting a pretty nice V shape off of that low, right? Or off of that SMT. But YM was not really having it, right? YM was not having it at 10 o'clock open. So this asset had not reversed at all at 10 o'clock. This asset was. So when I look at the 90-minute candle, like, we can technically trade this. It's aligned at 10 o'clock. But we weren't really reversing on if I show you by the time we hit 10 o'clock. So by the time we hit 10:30. When we hit 10:30, this candle had already like expanded a lot. But I'm not going to trade with it in this candle because YM was not reversing. That's pretty much why I was not doing that. So I opted to wait for 10:30. And that's going to create a two-stage PSP, really, right? Or two-stage SMT. Candle 1, candle 2 SMT confirmed by PSP here. So at the very least, I'm expecting that YM could at least like retrace, because it just came off expansion. It's not going to get up here, dude. That's just way out of reach for the day. So at the very least, like, this two-stage can be used as a retracement at least, which would allow all assets to expand the same direction, which would allow NQ to, get to these lows essentially, right? But price was so slow and choppy that I just opted to take my partials off here. And the profile is kind of shit too. So that's why I just took it off here. But yeah, I'm viewing this as a, whatchamacallit, two-stage SMT. And even if price took out this high, right, which you don't want it to do necessarily because this is a two-stage SMT already, you don't want it to resweep it. Even if it did, so check this out. This high right here is 10 o'clock or 9:55. And over here, 9:55 is basically right here. So even if YM did go and take the high, NQ is the one that's going to create the SMT here to go lower. So this is why I can just enter this trade, if that makes sense. So let me show you real quick. So like this reverse signature does not look the best, right? If I show you at 10 o'clock or at 10:30, sorry, when this new 90-minute candle open, you can't really tell this asset's going to reverse. But even if this asset over here took the high out, it's going to create SMT with this high. So that's why I can just enter this CSD here, put my stop loss here, and assume this asset is the weaker one. It's going to create the fair swing. It's not going to hit this high. It shouldn't hit these highs because this is the asset that should hit the high. So either way, if it even wanted to do that, we should be creating this two-stage PSP if it wanted to again, right? Because I mean, technically this candle is bearish. This one's bullish. If it really wanted to do that, but I didn't even want it to do that. You don't want it to really do that. So either way, it's like I can pretty much hit this trade. This asset's showing pretty nice signatures, right? V shape, a retracement. We're continuing from it. Price is kind of just bullshitting, waiting for 10:30. But yeah, when I look back inside of that 10:30, I keep saying the wrong times. When I look back into that 90-minute 9 o'clock candle, you know, here. When I look back inside of here, you can see that's the only level to continue from in the lower half of that range is this opposing candle, right? This is a gap right here, technically, right? This is a gap right here, but we know it should stay open because this high right here is technically YM's high. Like I said, it's technically this high, pretty much. So even if YM was going to take that high or whatever, right? Even if it was going to take that high or this high, that in itself would be a SMT fill, really, right? So look at the 10 o'clock high. 10 o'clock high is the gap. 10 o'clock right here is technically right here, right? So you already know there's going to be an SMT either way. So, and it didn't even take it, like I said, because it shouldn't have to, because this is the SMT here, right? So it's just waiting for 10 o'clock, right? Or 10:30. I keep messing up my times, but that's why I can enter this. Probably really confusing. But yeah, overall, not the greatest trade of all time, right? It's not the greatest trade of all time because the profile is kind of fucked, honestly. But I like the draw and liquidity. I like this V shape. It was decent, right? I'm doing this as a strength switch. So that's really what I took. It looks something like this. Really had like no drawdown in this trade. It was just a little 2.5 R trade to this low. And since price was so slow, like holy shit, price is so slow here, man. I just knew it probably didn't have enough juice to get down here and break that daily SMT. Probably not. So I just settled for this. It's good enough anyways. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it, guys. So that's really all I have for today. So catch you guys later.